What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we are talking about a little bit of drama coming out of the League of Legends world today. This is regarding the defending, reigning, whatever the word you want to use is, LEC MVP, the mid laner for Misfits. That is VTO, and he's got himself in a little bit of hot water today. He's definitely no stranger to this kind of scenario, this kind of situation, but today he found himself on the front page of Reddit. Now, this post has since been taken down by the moderator. Sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of r/League of Legends. Moderators remove posts for a variety of reasons. I don't really know why this one was removed. Your post has been removed because vague, contextless, memetic or inaccurate titles are not allowed, so I don't really know what that means. But anyway, this had 1,300 upvotes. This was one of the top posts on the League of Legends subreddit this morning. Spring Split MVP VTO running it because he didn't get red, LOL. And we can take a look at this clip real quick, I guess, and kind of see what's going on. Obviously, this is in a solo queue game. His team's down 5K at 22 minutes, so not necessarily looking that good so far. VTO got autofilled to 80 carry. He's playing Ezreal in this game. He's 2-2-3. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, probably not a game going the greatest. Obviously, he's off roll. I'm sure he's not too excited about that. Obviously, the spring or the summer split is just a couple of weeks away. I'm sure he'd like to be getting mid lane. I'm sure he'd like to be playing, but this guy is a solo queue grinder. He takes solo queue very seriously. And here is the clip where, you know, Ezreal's coming over thinking he's about to get red. Graves decides to smite it away. VTO with the flash cleanse ult. And then he kind of runs down. He steals Krugs, which, you know, it's whatever. Maybe he just needed the Krugs. Then he decides to run all the way back to base. And he's just chilling there for a little bit. He's just kind of chilling in base, hanging out, you know, getting some of his frustrations out. Maybe he's taking a little break. Maybe he's going to come back. And yeah, he just kind of, you know, obviously, we've all seen this before. We've had this in our games before. He just decides to kind of click around. He's going to make sure he doesn't get AFK banned. He's going to make sure he doesn't, you know, get lever bust or nothing like that. And he's going to, you know, be like, hey, Riot, I'm trying. He's still doing a little bit of damage. He's trying to kill some people as they're diving his fountain. Whole shebang. But at the end of the day, people were obviously upset about this. This made it all the way to the front page. This stirred up some drama. This stirred up some controversy. And I guess a little bit of context here. This is not VTO's first time having some solo queue shenanigans going on. It does seem like between the LEC and the LCS right now, are there some toxic pros? Are there some pros that are probably not the most fun to play in solo queue with? Are there some people who will troll or be toxic or type or do all these things? Like, yeah, definitely. You know, none of us are perfect. We all have bad days. We all have bad weeks. We all have bad games, especially pro players living a very, you know, stressful, mentally, physically taxing lifestyle, all this stuff. You know, who knows how scrims have been going? Who knows how their games have been going? Maybe they're feeling some pressure. Their job's on the line. They want to play some solo queue. They need to practice. They need to get better, whatever. But it does seem like between the LEC and the LCS, VTO is perhaps the worst, you know, kind of serial offender at this point. Obviously, you can see that by looking at some of the comments. You know, the worst part of this clip is what he's doing is pretty much what a solo queue terrorist do to avoid getting banned. Even though they're obviously trolling, he maintained a good KDA and wasn't literally AFK, so in Riot's eyes, he would just be classified as a bad game. Yeah, and then, you know, some more comments. He's a known solo queue terrorist. Last year, he went AFK in the middle of a game because he got ganked level 3. So, you know, whatever. Like I said, everyone has some off games. Everyone has some bad days, whatever. And if this was just an isolated incident, I don't think it was that big of a deal. But this is a tough one for me. This is a little bit frustrating. Now, I definitely think you need to take into account, you know, VTO. You can see here, this guy's 19 years old. And he's not like 12. He's not like 15, 16. Obviously, 19 is a young man, but he's an adult. He's, you know, been a pro player for a little bit now. He's, you know, coming up in the scene. And at some point, he's going to need to learn and grow and everything a little bit. But the question is now, like, what should be done? Some people are saying, you know, Riot should ban his solo queue account. Obviously, I think there's people that say, hey, should he be punished by Misfits? Should he be punished by the LEC? Should nothing be done? Is this even fine? I mean, there's some people in the comments that are like, yeah, you know, he probably shouldn't int, but how disgusting is it that you didn't give Ezreal red buff there? Like, you're fucking trolling. Like, okay, that is bizarre to me. I'm very far away from that. You know, whoever you think should get the red buff or whatever, I think that is like an actual in-game decision. I think what is going on here is absolutely removing it from that. But I do think this is very, very interesting because pro players, whether they like it or not, or at least I think some extent like kind of ambassadors to the game. And also, no matter what, pro players literally directly benefit from the game, being popular, people having a good time, more people playing it. That's going to create more fans. It's going to create more longevity for the game. That's going to create more future. And if you're just going into games and ruining games, and you are making the experience overall a worse time for casuals, for regular players, for people at home, and you are a professional player, you are the highest level, you are not only a professional player, you are an LEC MVP, the LEC MVP right now, I really don't think this is okay. I really don't think you can be doing this. Now, obviously, just because you're a pro player doesn't mean you have to be, the nicest person in the world or the greatest person in the world or whatever. We see in all different kinds of sports. There's definitely like soccer players who are a little bit dirty, or they're a little bit annoying, or, fans hate them. And there's basketball players and baseball players and football players. There's all that stuff. And to some extent, that's good for competition. You need to have players you like. You need to have players you hate. It creates, interesting drama, storylines, all this stuff. And just because somebody's really, really good at a thing doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be an angel, a saint, whatever. And like I said, we've all had bad moments. We've all done stupid things, especially when we're young, all this stuff. I get it. But at the same time, I do think something needs to be done about this, because part of this reminds me of like peak Tyler 1. I'm talking about like XD Tyler 1, where, he was playing Draven. He would go for like these level 1, level 2 kills every game. If his support didn't do exactly what he wanted, if they ended up dying, or if his support took the kill, even if it was like with an ignite or something like that, he's instantly running down bot. He's instantly headbutting the tower. He's running down mid the rest of the game. And that was bad. But it also inspired much more people to do that. And then all of a sudden you start going to your silver, gold, plat, bronze, whatever games, and you have people doing that. You have fans of Tyler 1 wanting to be like him, trying to emulate him, all this stuff. And obviously VTO is a popular player. He's a guy who has a lot of French fans. He's a guy who has a lot of fans from the LEC, Misfits fans, all this stuff. And when you see your favorite player doing this or whatever, and you see them getting away with it, you see them not getting banned, not getting punished, I do think this causes a bigger issue for the game. And I think stuff like this, this soft inting, this has been an issue for the past couple of years. And if, like, obviously Riot has decided to punish nobody for it, which has been really stupid and really disgusting and really dumb, and that's how you get more and more cases like this. But I don't think you can publicly have your pro players, especially your top level pro players, getting away with it without a punishment. Now, you think like to the real world, where if you had, professional players, I'm talking like Messi is playing, an amateur soccer game or a pickup soccer game or whatever, and somebody doesn't pass him the ball, or somebody doesn't do exactly what he wants to do, and he decides to start scoring own goals, or he just decides to start kicking the ball out of bounds, something would be done. Now, I'm not saying he would be like suspended from his professional matches or something like that, but at the very least, he would be removed from that game. He would, nobody would want to play with him, which isn't an option here. Obviously, in solo queue, Riot just gives you your teammates. You don't get to pick them. Or they would just be removed from the play. They wouldn't be allowed to come back. They wouldn't get to play in that league anymore. They wouldn't get to play in those games anymore, whatever. But again, that's also not an option when Riot is choosing not to do anything. So yeah, it's really, really weird. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if his solo queue account should be banned. I think they should be punished to some extent. I think you should get like a warning, then a 7 or 14 day ban, and then a perma ban if you want to keep doing this stuff, because I really do think this ruins the game for everyone. And I hope he doesn't, kind of make people want to do more of this. It's also really interesting because VTO's in a contract split. His contract expires with Misfits after the summer, and he's looking to, potentially sign a really big contract, maybe go to another team, and like, by doing stuff like this, you're just potentially creating enemies. I don't know if there's any other pro players in this game or anything like that, but again, if you're making enemies, making people not like you, being the asshole or dickhead or whatever, it might limit your options going forward in your career professionally. Also, if I'm Misfits, I don't necessarily love this. Again, I don't know what the answer is. I think the most appropriate solution is that his solo queue account should at least get a warning, if not a ban, because again, this is not his first time. Like if warnings were a thing, he would have gotten warnings a while ago. But I also think he should probably be fined, whether by the Misfits organization or by the LEC or whatever, because the LEC is a franchise league. That means all these orgs operating under one umbrella and for the betterment of all of them. So if somebody, a player, a team, whatever, is doing something to the detriment of one entity, it really does hurt the whole league. So I think the LEC does have some room to potentially fine him. I think Misfits could potentially fine him. I'm sure, this isn't something they want associated with their brand. I'm sure it's not something their sponsors want associated with them. And like I said, he's a young guy. We've seen young guys come up and be toxic kind of solo queue kids before, and then grow up and grow out of it and stuff. I don't know if Perkz was like that. I know for sure Caps was like that, but they've changed. They've gotten better. They're not doing those same things anymore. And I think it's time for Vito to step up and do some of that as well. He has all the talent in the world, and he's a guy I want to root for. He's a great player. He does all these great things, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are not fans of stuff like this. I'm definitely not fans of stuff like this. And obviously he's been getting away with it for a while. And at some point, maybe somebody needs to step in and say something to him or do something, or hand out a little bit of a punishment. Again, I'm not saying he should be canceled. I'm not saying he's a terrible person, but I do think, a fine, ban, suspension of some kind could be in order in something like this, just to, prevent further stuff from happening like this. But also, again, you want players to be having fun in your games. It literally, this sucks for everyone involved, and it makes people less likely to continue to play the game going forward, and could, be a factor of the downfall of League of Legends going forward in the future, because a lot of people hate stuff like this, and it's definitely become more and more rampant recently. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all this. Do you care that VTO is inting in solo queue? Do you not care? Do you think he should be punished? Do you know what an appropriate punishment would be? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.